The infinite was entirely unknown and diffused no light before the luminous point violently broke through into vision, the numerical mathematics of the universe, unveiling cosmic secrets. In this thought-provoking video series, we delve deep into the realm of mathematics, the only exact science whose propositions hold the power of conclusive proof and demonstration. Throughout history, what has been deemed exact in science has constantly evolved. Just centuries ago, the flat Earth was a widely accepted truth, and notions of the universe's infinity were fiercely opposed. Yet, today, we witness the once deemed impossible transmutation of metals and the redefinition of the atom, not as a particle of matter, but as a union of forces. This journey through the universe of numbers and mathematics is not merely about understanding physical realities, but uncovering the spiritual verities that are eternal in the heavens. As Pythagoras once said, "The world is built upon the power of numbers." Thus, numbers are not just symbols for ideas, but also representations of divine realities, echoing through the cosmos and within our very existence. Our series aims to unravel these eternal truths, exploring how the ancient views on cosmogony, human evolution, and the cosmos resonate with modern scientific discoveries. We invite you to join us in this intriguing exploration of numbers as a key to understanding the universe, a journey that transcends the physical and ventures into the spiritual dimensions of existence. Numbers may be compared to the bones of the body, in that they are the framework upon which the superstructure of manifestation is erected. Therefore, even if the study of occult mathematics may seem to some but a study of dry bones, it is as necessary to the occult student. In the Bible, from the days of creation to the apocalypse, great stress is laid upon the numbers. Hindu scriptures, the Vedas, Upanishads, underlie every hymn. Since all things manifest according to the laws of numbers and vibration, everything can be made and respond to these laws. Hence, one who has gained mastery over his voice, or as the occultist would say, can command army of the voice, is master over all. This is the only truer magic. Know thyself. Know the keynote of that which you desire. Harmonize yourself with it, and then sound it. If we steadily regard the geometry of nature in the same patient and sincere manner, as did Hipparchus, Ptolemy, Kepler, Netweon, KTV, we will come to a conclusion that number, as expressed in geometrical relations, is the most intimate expression of the soul of things. Each such expression has its number, rate of vibration or wavelength, its sound, color, and form, and its own place in the grand plan or scheme of the universe. This is as true as forces which create the world of those which create a snow crystal. All nature shapes can be raced back to and analyzed into simple geometrical figures: dot, triangle, square, and circle, just as all musical notes produced characteristic designs when made to pass through sand or other suitable material. Let's begin with the symbol of zero and its relation to the serpent. God is a circle, the center of which is everywhere and the circumference nowhere. Pascal. Alone, the one form of existence stretched boundless, infant, causeless, in dreamless sleep, and life posited unconscious in universal space, throughout all preseen, which is sensed by the open eye of Dangma. Stanzas of Xian. The number zero is called naught or nothing because no thing has been differentiated or manifest. It is the salience of non-being. It is the secret habitation of the ever-invisible deity. In the beginning 'twas a great abyss, neither day or night existed. The abyss was beginning without end. All father, the uncreated, the unseen, dwelt in the depth of the abyss, and willed, and what was willed came into being. This circle is our sea, vague and unformed desires, longings, and ideals. When the soul has manifested the most essential and characteristic possibilities of the smallest, inmost, and densest sphere of the aura, this zero, we keep referring towards. It's break through that confining shell following a spiral path, and it is born into a larger sphere of consciousness's being or orbit of evolution of consciousness, being or orbit of evolution whose forces will aid in perfecting and completing of the former sphere. For instance, as long as man consciousnesses responds only to the sense impression from the physical world, he is confined within that sphere of matter and consciousness which vibrates to the physical plane. From all that has been said, we see the O as a symbol of the source from which all manifestation proceeds, is no arbitrary or man-made symbol, but is inherent nature herself. Therefore, let the circle remind you that you have the potency and power of the unmanifested overshadowing you, that you are dwelling in the mighty sphere of unmanifested powers, which it is your duty to understand, unfold, and bring into manifestation ere you can pass through the evolution of the numerals and reach in the number 10. Let it remind you of the source from whence you have received the portion of good given you by your Father in heaven, ere you took your journey into this far country of material embodiment, and that these goods are the materials out of which you must furnish your mansion in heaven, or the immortal spiritual vehicle which you must ultimately attain, ere you can manifest the real self, or the God within, on all planes. Let's take in consideration the point within the circle, which is a symbol considered both with the 0 and the 1, as it is the connecting link between two. The dot within the circle is the first manifestation of the latent deity or deity in the activity, the first cause, unity within the eternity, the first differentiation from the homogeneous state represented by the circle. In the metaphysical world, the circle with its one central point in it has no number, and it's called anupadaka, parentless and numberless, for it can fall under no calculation. It is a center of energy, which I shall the present called the logos. The dot, the circle, is the casual soul or personal God of each individual, while the higher self is the casual soul, enriched by the experiences garnered by the personalities in which it incarnates life after life, and stored up as individuality in the higher self. In the individual man, the dot is the manifestation of the ray shot out in the beginning from one of the 7 Elohim, the 7 flames, and becomes the creative dot in that individual which remains throughout the entire kalpa as a nucleus and overshadowing principle. The dot periodically sends down its one ray into manifestation through a personality, for a ray must incarnate again and again until all the experiences represented by the cycle of numbers 1 to 9 are stored up in the higher self. Thus the dot and the 1 with its O togder make the higher self 10. It is the potency of this dot in all numbers, stimulated by the overshadowing of the dot itself, which causes their evolution or unfoldment. In turns, this dot in the individual is overshadowed by the casual soul of the universe. If we consider the dot as a bright flame in the center of a circle, or a pure white light of the sun in the center in the zodiac, as the sun sends forth its rays, manifest the 7 colors of the spectrum, and as each ray touches the circumference, it makes a dot of its own color. The sun in the center will therefore represent the height self of the divine dot, while the many lesser dots on the circumference will represent many personalities, each manifesting but one shade of the central light, and each becoming pure white light only as all indrawn into center. The entire circle will then become a globe of pure white radiance, and take its place in turn as a dot upon the circumference of a still mightier circle, whose center is God. This symbol also has a reflection or correspondence in nature, as the nucleus in the egg. The nucleus has the same significance as the dot and the sun, i.e., the source of life to its system, for without the vitalizing creative power emanating from its nucleus, no egg could be fructified or developed. Therefore, just as the Christian ceremonies of Easter bring to our mind the great cosmic fact of the resurrection of the sun or the renewal of the life force, the dot in the center, always a smaller circle in the old picture writing, and its present name as the dot, names the gift god. We may think of our aura as a circle, but we should think of our higher self as the dot or God within this circle, the manifested source from whence emanates the light, life, and love of our existence. And only because of the source within have we the power to bring into manifestation and evolve the inchoate forces which we find within the circle, our being. Hence, when we realize and manifest the power of the indwelling creative dot to bring forth and use, to the limits of our circle of manifestation, all that is contained therein, can we become the true I or one. Every unit of life is the center or dot of its own universe, has its own sphere of activity and influence and rate of vibration, and its own center of cosmic energy, a microcosm and individualized reflection in the time and space of the one life of the circle within the dot. The dot may also be looked upon as the spiritual star of initiation, which overshadows the candidate from the time when the spiritual light broke through into vision or was born into his consciousness. But we become aware of it only when we look toward it, feel its life-giving warmth, and see its light streaming down upon us and forming the straight and narrow path, number 1, that leadeth unto salvation, mastery. Looked upon from above, the dot is seen to be the end of the axis of a sphere or an aspect of number 1. Let the dot within the circle remind you that no matter how dark and chaotic the circle of your life may seem, you have within you the dot of pure white spiritual light, the sun of your soul, whose rays can unfold and illumine every condition in your life and help you manifest their highest possibilities, if you will but open the door of your heart and let them in. But only as you fearlessly and determinedly and from the Christ consciousness within say, "Let there be light," understanding all that this impulse and all that will result, can its force start the circle of darkness or chaos in your spiritual life to revolving and the Spirit of God. Do not be appalled at that which the light reveals within you, for the so-called things of evil, those which are unredeemed, will first be stirred up that they may come into light and be transmuted, spiritualized, and redeemed. Remember, the divine dot, or the spiritual sun within must shine if evolution is to take place.